Does my athlete need protein powder? At what age should my athlete use protein powder? Which protein powder is the best? Are there dangerous substances in the protein powders? Stay tuned to this two-part series where I clear up all your protein powder problems and more. The topic of protein powder is big, and there are many aspects to cover so that you are an informed consumer. As a parent of young athletes, it can be challenging to know what is best for your young athlete's health. Let's first clear up any misconceptions about what protein powder actually is, because a lot of parents get worried that it's something more than it actually is. The simplest definition is that protein powders are powdered forms of protein-rich foods like soybeans, peas, rice, seeds, eggs, beef, and milk. So think of it as a condensed and travelable protein-rich food source. Simply put, it is a condensed food. The one thing a parent should be cautious about is what's added to the condensed protein. Here's where we find that not all brands are created equal. You'll want to look out for food additives, artificial sweeteners, caffeine, and any other supplements that might be added to the protein that might not be best suited for young athletes. You'll have to read the ingredient label to discover this information. The best advice I can give parents who haven't done any of my trainings on label reading yet is to look for a nutrition label versus a supplement label on the protein that you purchase. Here is a quick example. The nutrition label, as seen on the left, is an indicator that this is a food-based product, that no major supplements have been added, whereas the supplement label lets us know that there are supplements added and the product is making some kind of health claim. There are many protein powders available that carry the nutrition label, and that's where I'd begin with your younger athletes. In our Power 5 Jumpstart package of trainings, we have one training that breaks this down for you really well. I'll be sure to include that link below in the comments. Also, be sure to give us a like and follow if you find these videos helpful. Next question, is there a difference between the different types of protein from the different food sources that I just mentioned? Yes. Without getting too deep in details, animal proteins are the most nutritionally complete proteins and usually the first choice for muscle development and support. Whey protein ranks best, then egg, then beef, then the plant proteins in terms of muscle support, and I don't recommend using soy. Whey protein, which comes from cow's milk, is great for muscles and usually tastes the best. But unfortunately, it can be high in reactivity for many of my clients. Since I worked intensely with food allergies and food sensitivities for over a decade, I've seen firsthand that many people are sensitive to cow's milk proteins. This sensitivity can show up in many ways, and stomach issues are just one way. Skin and sinus issues are another. As a functional food expert, I'm always looking at how food impacts an individual's health, not just simply how we can grow big muscles. So we must look at the overall impact of food. I'll go deeper into food sensitivities in a later video, but I'm telling you all this so that you are sure your athlete is getting the best protein source for them, for their individual needs. So to summarize, go with whey protein if your athlete can tolerate it. Then egg would be my next choice, then beef my third. Plant protein is all the rage lately, but it comes in fourth on my list in terms of what's best for muscle building and recovery. And if you do choose a plant-based protein, be sure it's got at least 2 different plant protein sources in it, like rice and pea, for example, to ensure it's a more complete protein source. The final important question to answer today is, at what age do I suggest protein powder supplementation for kids? Now, there is no set age for protein powder usage. The decision to use protein powder comes predominantly from necessity. In other words, your athlete's bodily needs guide this question. So for example, if your child is 13 and playing 2 sports, running from here to there for practices every day, and needs to gain weight, your 13-year-old would probably benefit from some protein powder. If, on the other hand, you have a 13-year-old that swims on the summer league swim team and is at a healthy body weight, that 13-year-old probably doesn't need protein powder. My favorite motto is always food first. In other words, if you can keep up with the food demands of your child's activity level, your athlete probably doesn't need protein powder. If you find their activity levels and demands on their body exceed their main meal plus snacks, then it might be a good time to fill in the gaps in their daily food plan with protein powder. So I'll just use my son for a quick example. He's 17 years old, he's 6 feet 3 inches tall, and has had to really work hard to keep weight on over the years as a football player. He's on the go with his busy life and sport and can only eat so many calories in a day. So protein powder really helps fill in those gaps in the day in between meals and after a workout. Another example would be of an athlete who has a really fast metabolism and needs extra calories in their day. Protein powder would be helpful along with a carbohydrate source. Okay, let's recap now. Today we went over what protein powder actually is, which sources of protein powders are best, and when is the right time to use protein powder. Be sure to check back in soon because the second part of this protein powder series will cover topics like what part of the day is best for your athlete to consume protein powder and which ingredients should you look for in your protein powder, along with a few brand recommendations. If you have any questions you'd like me to answer, be sure to write them in the comment section below or email us at hello@anitanall.com.